Be sure to check out my Patreon for weekly exclusive interviews, extra content on Veve and Omi, and building generational wealth, as well as money management tips from experienced whales. Yo, what's going on, y'all? I'm Cavell Anderson, and we are back with another Veve and Ecomi video. And this one, we're going to be checking out some comments made by a whale in the community. This is the homie Pax. Actually, one of my other homies hit me up and told me, yo, Pax said this. I completely disagree. So yeah, he wanted to hear my opinion on it and my take, and he wanted me to talk about it a little bit. So I guess the premise of this is going to be that Veve should only drop three grail drops in a month, and that's it. Like that's what Veve needs to be dropping, not a bunch of random content, I guess. Like I don't know the exact context, but he thinks that there should be a limitation on drops or types of drops and things like that. Obviously, if you all have heard me or watched me before, I would disagree with that from the jump personally, but I understand, like, he's a whale, he has a lot of money in this, and he can be making a lot of money right now. That's the thing. Like, a lot of us has to wait for these things to appreciate a lot. He's putting in so much money into this project where one move right now, if the market was hot still, he could make a lot of money right now today. So he's going to have a different perspective because but it's biased. Like you have to know that this is going to be biased to his situation, which as investors, most time, like the only reason that I'm unbiased is because I make content for abroad. That's the choice I'm choosing to make. But when it comes down to the investing, like if I was not a YouTuber, if I was just about, I only care about me, I only care about my investment, where my stuff can go. That's how it's supposed to be. You're only supposed to care about what most benefits you. And obviously if you don't care about the future of a project, and I'm not to say he doesn't care anything like that. Pax definitely cares about the future of the project. What I'm saying is just in general, if someone didn't care about the project and they only care about milking it for what it's worth right now, then obviously they would want their decisions, and what they would want would reflect that. So yeah, like my point is there's going to be different decisions and different perspectives. That's not one that I can necessarily agree with. I think that personally, I want Veve to drop as many grails as possible right now. I want the community to be stupid enough to think that just because they're dropping them all right now, they're still not grails. And I want to be able to buy all these grails super, super cheap, just like when the comic books was out. Because when they first started dropping these comic books, the Marvel Comics #1 was going for $2. It was going for $2, and now it got to a point where it was like what, 500 or something like that. Like, come on now, if you would have stacked a bunch of those at $2, like you would have made a bag at 200 and that, or at 500. So that's the thing. Like, just because the community is too stupid to see the value, that doesn't mean that the market is too stupid. We're going to get more and more people in. We're going to get more and more whales in. Whales cannot even put money into the platform right now. So this is why I like, see, that's the thing. Pax is going to look at things differently. He has the money right now to buy whatever he wants at any price. And then he has a strategy that he sticks to where he doesn't even want to buy everything. He buys what he wants. If he wants it, he'll buy the best mints of it. He has the capital to do that. Me, I don't have infinite capital. So I would love to have all the drops out and people to think that they're shitty, so I can stretch my $1,000 that I want to put in. Like, I want to be able to get all the grails for $1,000, where this man, he could, every single grail that comes out, he can put $5,000 or $10,000 on every single one. It's like, no, I mean, the rest of us ain't living like that. So that's going to be the difference in perspective. But yeah, let's jump into the clip so you all can hear what was actually said. Be sure to drop that thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And yeah, let's get it, yo. Shout out to Randy too for the dope interview. I've also did an interview with him on the Patreon. It's much more focused and centered around wealth building and decisions to take you out of poverty and get you into a place where you can actually change your life. Like, that's what I like to focus on the Patreon. So yeah, shout out to Pax.
I'm gonna hear from Veve. Well, we don't have the. Well, it's gonna be a little more. Well, I just put 30 grand and 40 grand and 60 grand into development into something that was ready to just plug and play. And now you're telling me that you don't have the resources, or you're in beta. Like, I mean, what? I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? And I don't care. That's why Omi it doesn't matter the Omi value at the time. It doesn't matter what it, like, I'm not looking at it like that. I'm looking at like Omi's Omi, NFTs are NFTs, and Veve versus Veveverse, 3 separate entities. And they're all different. They all have different metric of investments. Yeah. What I have in one is different from another, though all correlated and definitely they're connected. They're separate in their own, way. And I have different plans for each one. I'm just not going to invest in the Veveverse part of it until a lot, because.
And what you have to understand, what he's saying right now, he's completely correct for his position, for where he's at. He is already probably more than likely a multi-million. Well, he's definitely a multi-millionaire. He's a multi-millionaire already, right? So when you're looking at it from that perspective, he does not have to take on the risk of somebody trying to get to their first million. You know, like he does not have to take on that type of risk. Why would he take on that type of risk? He can afford to jump in when he jumps in and still make a profit. So it's like, you have to be a hell of a lot more risky when you have a little as compared to when you have a lot, because we need stuff at the lowest discounted prices. We need to make every single dollar count. We need to turn a small amount into a big amount, which means we need to take the risk. Like, we have to take the risk that, yo, this company says they're going to deliver. We have to trust them, because if we do trust them and they actually do deliver, the returns is going to be massive. As opposed to him, he can wait until it looks like it's more real. And like, if the price goes up a couple of $100s or even a couple of thousands of dollars, that's nothing for him. He can still jump in and he's still going to be able to ride it up from wherever he gets in at. But the thing is, we can get in before it even starts to take off. Like, so we can afford it more. We can get more of it. And then when people like him enter, that's what will allow us to exit, you know? So that's really how the market works. Like, it just works in cycles, man. So yeah, like I said, I personally don't, we're not supposed to see things the same way as him, unless you're in his same financial situation. You're not supposed to see things the same way as him. And then maybe not even still, because some people with a lot of money still take on risk or still believe in certain things. You know, it's like everybody's going to have their own opinions and their own perspectives. The fact of the matter is, I think that everything is a lot more linked. He's one of the people where it's like, you're gonna have to show me first before I believe it. It's like, I mean, I only invested in this because of all the links that's going to happen, and I trust that the company is going to make them happen. But he has to wait until he sees them before he puts in more money, and obviously that's going to be, he's putting in big money. So I mean, but to be fair, if he was taking the exact same risk as a lot of us, if things pays off and pans out the way that we think that is going to pan out, he would stand to make far more money in the long term. But I mean, he's going to invest how he's going to invest. Like I said, he does not need to take on the risk. But I feel like those with a lot of money who does take on the risk is going to be handsomely rewarded for it. And this is why you can't be mad or can't be upset with somebody for their opinion. Like, I don't care about all the 20 cent Omi people. Like, all the 20 cent Omi, I completely understand. You don't have to take on the risk. But when, like, all the 20 cent Omi people, at the point where it hits $1, where it hits 5, where it hits 10, you're going to be looking absolutely shitty, because they didn't need to even take the time to understand why $10 is possible. They don't need to. They don't need to take that type of risk if all they need is 20 cents. And this is what I mean. You're not going to think the same. They don't have to research that much. All they're going to do is say, nothing's never behaved like that before. That would have to pass Ethereum. That would have to pass Bitcoin. That would have to double, triple Tesla. It would never happen. And then they can keep it moving, because they don't care. They don't actually care. Obviously, they would love the returns if that happens, but they're not banking on the returns, and they don't have to take their time to do the research to even understand if it's logical or not. They'll assume that it's illogical, because they're but that's the thing. I see a lot of broke people out here doing the exact same shit as them. It's like, this is why you're in that position. Like, you're supposed to behave like the wealthy, but not like that. Don't dismiss facts, because you need every single opportunity possible. If you're trying to build wealth and you're coming from a place where you're not a millionaire, you need to take advantage of every single opportunity. So some things people do, they be out here moving weird, bro. It's like, you moving like you don't want to be a millionaire. That's crazy.
We think about it. We got MCP points, OUP. Like, we have all that. Really? MCP points? What the hell? When we get Veve, like, what is it going to be? Like, what are we going to have? Like 10 trillion points? By, you know what I mean? Like hundreds.
We're going to have a lot of points.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, imagine what Patrick and what do you call like, you know what I mean? Like,
all the other whales.
Yeah, like, what are they gonna have? Like hundreds of billions of points? It's gonna be unrealistic. Well, what are you gonna do with them? You know what I mean? Like, the longer you kick the can down the road, when you're talking about converting MCP points, are they going to be able to run the whole thing? Is it going to be like, that's a little unfair. I don't want to see, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, that's whoa. That's like, wait a minute.
Get what you're
that's
saying.
why it's like, is there limits? I mean, I have a lot of SRs. I have a lot of stuff, man. And honestly, especially with like sets and stuff, like when you're talking about completing sets and low mints and things like that, when you're talking about MCP points, man, I don't even, I'd like to know what we have. That would be cool, you know, at least to get like a gauge of accounting. That would, yeah, you see what I'm talking about? They want as much content each month, right? Right.
Yeah. Why is word coming
Omi's
down?
building each, right.
He's oh damn, he's getting the fisticuffs going.
That's all right. Me and Dan we're gonna put the gloves on. I'm not worried about it. It's gonna be Dan and Wes versus me, and it'll be no problem, bro. No, I love Dan. He's the man.
Yeah,
no,
he's awesome.
You know what it is? It's not about disagree with what I'm saying. It's an impossibility. It won't happen. It's too late. I'm making a point that it started off slow, and the market it was so healthy, and they were releasing meaty Grail and key books.
But you have to think, it didn't start off healthy. They were releasing key Grail books, and everybody undervalued those too. Everyone disrespected those. They were listing Marvel Comics #1 for $2. That wasn't healthy. That wasn't healthy at all. That wasn't anywhere near what it should be. That was a Grail comic getting absolutely shat on. And that's because the community was not educated. So just because they can put out 30 drops in the same day, it's the community's responsibility to do their own research and know which of these, like what if they drop Amazing Fantasy 15, but they drop it in between like 30 other drops for the day? Is Amazing Fantasy 15 no longer valuable because they dropped it amongst all that? No, that's the valuable one within that. That's the one that everybody should be going for. But if you don't have the information, if you don't have the knowledge to understand that that's the one you should be going for, that's your fault for being a shit investor, because that's going to pick up in value, because the fact of the matter is that's a piece everyone wants. So when they get to searching online, where can I find this piece because it's the most valuable NFT, they're going to see it's on Veve. They're going to click on it. They're going to go and they're going to buy it. That's what people are going to do. That's what the whales are going to do. So it does not matter what something that, like when people are looking up, the best NFTs, the most valuable NFTs, when people are looking up Toy Story stuff, people are looking up Lion King stuff, they're going to look for it and find it on Veve and they're going to buy it. It doesn't matter what frequency this stuff is dropped at. It is still what it is. So it does not matter the market sentiment. The market is fucking stupid right now. These are people here trying to make a quick buck, a quick flip, who don't actually value any of the things that they have right now. So just because they don't value it does not mean that Veve needs to do something different, like make them value the drops more by not dropping as much stuff. I think that Veve needs to drop more stuff, to be completely honest. I want to see multiple drops every single day. I want Veve to get at that point where it's multiple drops every single day. And that's going to separate the real investors from the morons. Because then they're not going to be able to afford anything. You're going to actually have to get off your ass, study, and figure out what is valuable and why it's valuable. Right now, people just grab anything and gamble and hope for the best. That's your fault if you're moving like that. That's your fault if you don't see the value in things, because you can't afford to value things high if you're trying to go for every single drop because you don't know what's valuable. So people are prioritizing trying to make a quick gamble over actually knowing what's investable, what's something you should be holding, and what's a great long-term buy. That's a lack of information on their part. Like that, these people who are undervaluing these things, that does not mean that the market is the market is fine right now. The investors who are investing in the market is stupid. And all the people who are actually smart, the rich people, the people with money already, they can't even get in, or they refuse to get in until Veve actually drops the features that allows them to get out and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, what these people are going to realize is that the market is going to shift drastically once people with big money are allowed to get in. Like, and people who've been moving stupid on the app already, they're going to realize how dumb they were when pieces that they saw becomes insanely valuable. Like Todd, all of us OGs could have got Todd when he was at like $60. A lot of us got it. Like I got my Todd at like 8,000. My Todd is down right now. I got my Todd at 8,000 when I could have got him when he was like $60. That's what's going to happen again. Like that's what's going to happen again. All this stuff down here at $200, it pops up to 20,000, and people are going to be looking like fucking idiots. And that's their choice. They're choosing that.
At the time. And you would get a Batman, you would get a Spider-Man, you would get a Superman, like you're getting items, even, I'm just making a point, like, you know, not that like Toy Story is no good or not, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to, this is not like I'm not saying everything else is garbage. I'm just talking about from a real demand. I'm looking on the marketplace. I'm not seeing a lot of activity in the secondary market. Activities in secondary market I want to see stats. Dan, let's see stats.
The secondary market, people are not in your position. People can't afford to be active on the secondary market because they're trying to buy every single drop. They're selling their stuff for losses, and then they're trying to buy new drops thinking that that's going to somehow help them. And they keep taking L after L after L because they gamble, and then they don't act like they sell something of value. People are selling their grails right now, and then they're gambling on something that's not even a grail, that's never going to be good. They're trying to get secret rares. They don't get the secret rare, so they end up selling for a loss, and they just keep losing money. People are devaluing the fuck out of their collections right now. That's what people are doing. And people are not supposed to be buying right now. Look at the state of the world. Like, you have dispensable money. Even with the state of the world, like we just talked, I know his business is going very, very fine. His business is great. Like, he can still spend money like nothing is wrong because this isn't hitting him. But the rest of the world is struggling out here. So it's like I said, it's just going to be a difference in perspectives because of the situations that everybody's in.
Show me stats of secondary market transactions of people buying and selling on the secondary. Not talking about just the initial drop.
And to be fair, all the whales are talking to each other. This is what I mean by people and it doesn't mean that whales can't be out of touch too. These whales have similar perspectives because they're only talking to people of their same caliber where they have this cash that they can put anywhere. They're not struggling by the recession. They're not struggling by anything. They don't, like a $5 gas price, they don't give a shit. Like, that's not going to impact them or change their daily lives at all. Like, some of these guys probably hires drivers wherever they want to go. So they don't even have to look at the gas. They just pay a lot daily regardless. It's like, they're not going to have the same perspective. And as long as they're only talking to other people of their status, they're not going to even be able to see and understand the little guy. That's why it's important to have a balanced perspective. That's why I love spending the time I spend talking to whales so you can see their perspective. That's why I offer that on the Patreon. It's very important to understand every side. It's very important to understand every side. That's why I understand it from the side of being poor, because that's what I come from. And then I understand it from the side of being wealthy because I talk to these guys all the time. So it's important to make sure you stay level-headed and grounded in what everyone is feeling. Now, I definitely understand it from his perspective. And if I was a whale, maybe I'd agree, but I'm not. I'm a regular person trying to take advantage. And as far as I think Veve is a perfect middle ground company right now. They're doing the perfect middle ground thing. And in my opinion, that's like, the whales shouldn't be, if the whales are happy all the time, that should, like, there's a problem, because then it only caters to the rich. If the minorities are happy all the time, then it's probably a problem, because will that attract the whales? So it's like, yeah, you gotta understand that this company is still developing.
The actual buying and selling.
You see it on the meter scan.
Why was it so like this, and all of a sudden it's like this, and we have so much more to offer? We should be way up like this because we have so many more items. There should be so much more transaction.
The entire NFT space is down, and then people don't know what's going to be valuable because of the bot actions. It's a lot of loss in trust and faith in the project. And just because people lose faith does not mean, like, nothing has changed. People have lost faith because they're uneducated. I was preaching education for a fucking year and people did not take it serious. People choose to not listen. So as long as they don't want to get educated, they're going to have to wait until they miss out on the opportunity. All the buying starts back up, shit picks back up, and that's when they're going to realize they were fucking morons the whole time. People will eventually wisen up, but by that time it's going to be too late. And I'm going to love to see that happen, because then they'll realize I've been telling you this for a year plus and you didn't listen. So now this is the lesson. Your dumb ass had to take a lesson on one of the biggest brands in human history. You had to, like, Netflix. I keep saying Netflix is where I took my L. You have to be a fucking moron to take an L on Veve. And these people are, and they're going to learn that for themselves. They're going to be calling themselves morons. They're going to be like, why, how did I not notice this before? You didn't look. You didn't listen. You called everyone who was telling you the truth a fucking moon, boy. And now you're in this situation right now. Don't let the shit happen again. Then the next time this cycle repeats itself, those same people are going to be the ones telling the new people that's complaining, oh, you're fucking morons. Like, we learned that lesson the hard way. We all thought this, we all thought that, and then we were completely wrong. Then they're going to be the one, like the way that I'm talking to them right now is the way that they're going to be talking to the people who are them in the future, the old them. Like, that's how you talk to your old self. I would have did the same shit at one point in my life. I would have been the same way at one point in my life. It takes leveling up. And if you don't talk to the people who have been there and who have leveled up from there, you're never going to change your mindset and improve. So these people are choosing to be dumb. That's what they're choosing. So they have to learn the lesson the hard way. Like when reality slaps them in the fucking face, I guarantee they learn then.
On the secondary. It's not happening. And people are getting discouraged. I never heard of one person say back then, oh, look at all, I want, I'm looking to sell my whole collection. And they got a Donnie in there, and they got a Todd in there, and they got MC1 Commons in there, and they got, Fantastic Fours
well, I think there's a reason for that.
And shit. I don't see nobody with that. Where's all the the professor and the hymns, and where are those collectibles? Where are those people that
I think you just answered your own question.
Why aren't they selling their collections? Why is it all these newbies that are coming and just showing up with all the new garbage? Because that's why they're discouraged. They're not making no money. They're like, you know what? I wasted all this $300, $400, $500 on drops. They don't want to be in Veve no more.
Let them leave. They come in throwing money places. That's like walking into a jewelry store, not knowing what's valuable, what's not, and just buying some random shit. And you bought a depreciating asset instead of one of the appreciating ones. That's your choice to invest like that. That's your choice to not do research, due diligence, and understand. Any market works the same way. That's exactly why people leave the stock market. They go in, they buy a stock that they think is going to go up, it starts going down, and then they get out and never want to do that shit again. That does not mean that it's not money in the stock market. That just means you're a fucking idiot. You didn't take the time to do your research. Basically, the entire mantra for these communities is do your own research. And that's what everybody fails to do.
They're going to miss out.
Well, I think you answered your own question. You said, like, why are there less transactions now and we have so much more? Is because all the buying that happened months ago and last year was a lot of the people, like collectors or whales, buying up all the good stuff. And now that they're done,
that's not true. That's not true, Randy, because everything, really the whales were buying up everything back then. We would have nothing available. The commons were MC1 commons were under $10. As a matter of fact, they might have been under $5, and no one was buying them.
They were like $4.
Yeah, no one was buying them. If whales cared that much, they would have unloaded. We would have never even seen $4 or $5. Trust me, you need to have a good.
I think people just didn't know at the time.
It's just like business. Listen. I had a piece.
It takes time. It takes time for the market to become educated. And the market has no reason to be educated because they're crying about MTL and a bunch of other irrelevant shit. They're scared they're not going to be able to get their money out. So they're not thinking logical about the decisions that they can be making with their money. They're under the impression that it's a scam because that's the sentiment. That's the thing that they're listening to all the time. They're scared. And when you're fearful, you're not making smart decisions. So there's not going to be a market moving in any logical way while everyone is terrified that they're going to lose everything. That's just not. People don't know what they're doing in this community. And this is what happens when you are innovating and you're building an industry that's never existed before. Who's the expert that they can turn to? Because you look at people like me who actually know what we're talking about, and you're seen as moon boys and crazy right now because you see stuff in a way that no one else sees it, but it can't be verified that you know what you're talking about. Even if you're right time and time again, because I have a year's record plus of being right, you're still going to be worried. There's no experts in this space. What if this is the one time he's wrong? I mean, there's nothing that you can really do. It's like people have to see things for themselves. And right now they're not seeing enough.
Pizzeria, right? For 3 years. And I only decided to sell because my real estate career had gotten a lot busier. As you know, look what has happened. That's why I sold it. But more than anything else, there are pizzerias all over town, right? The very first year, I grossed $450,000. Right? Guess what? I had nothing. I had the smallest menu. I had under 20 items on my whole entire menu. In fact, that includes the types of the varieties of pizzas that I actually had to offer.
Okay.
No sandwiches, no salads, no dinners, no pasta. Okay. How the hell how did that happen?
Yeah.
How? Because it was my brother-in-law's had a restaurant and they still have the pizzeria. They're killing it over there. But they have a full menu. You could buy dinners, you could buy pastas, you could buy salads, sandwiches, hot and cold. I didn't have none of that. Yeah. Because when I managed the business and I was there for over 16 years, I was able to see every of the top 15 or 20 items, pizzas included with the toppings, that were the best sellers. And I took all that data and I just created a menu of just those top items and nothing else. Bro, I was...
Yeah, so he wants, so he's looking at it from that explains a lot, and it's based off his experience. He's looking at it like a pizza place. He's not looking at it like the fact that he wants to make it easy for the consumer so they can just come straight in and buy the most valuable things. This is not for just whales. If it was only the most valuable things on Veve, everything would be unavoidable for the casual person. The fact that they have all this random content and the grails sprinkled in, it requires people to do work. It requires people to not know what's happening, which means that the whales are still going to go for the stuff that's valuable. It's just going to take more time because there has to be more whales coming in transacting. And then that's like once there's more whales coming in transacting and the whales start moving floors and prices and stuff like that, start buying stuff up, that's when the regular people is going to see, oh, this stuff is going up in value. And then they're going to start buying stuff, trying to figure out what the whales are going for, then try to keep up. And that's just how it has to work. But he wants it to be working fast. He thinks that it never should have dropped off. He thinks they should only be doing the most valuable. We didn't know at the time that those was the most valuable pieces. Superman wasn't doing, all of them, Todd wasn't doing well. Like none of the stuff that did well was doing well at the time. And we're in the same cycle again. The cycle is repeating.
Busier, it was insane. My payroll was insane. And I mean, I'm just making a point. It's like, you know, what I mean is like, it's less is more. You know, just focus on
less is definitely not more when you're trying to get hundreds of millions of people. Your pizzeria wasn't going to cater to hundreds of millions of people, and that's the difference here. Like there needs to be enough content for everyone that they're gonna go to. And yeah, we saw an example of what this thing is going to be, but they're not ready for mass adoption just yet. There's not enough on Veve to cater to mass adoption, and that's what people need to understand. Like Veve is still a startup, and it's moving as such, and you can't. Well, I mean, this guy went from making a lot of money to not being able to make that type of money on Veve. So I guess he can be in his feelings about it. But the fact of the matter is, it's still a startup. Like you got a lucky taste of what it's going to be like in the future. But just because it's not there yet does not mean that that's not where it's headed. We know that people demand these things. We just have to get to a place where Veve delivers and people have that type of sentiment and education again. But we have nobody educating them or nobody that they're willing to listen to. I can tell people the truth all day long, but if they don't choose to listen, that's on them. Like, and no one's going to listen because I'm like a one-man show out here talking from the place of I'm the one delusional because I actually do research and I'm not emotionally tied to things like everyone else. That's crazy. I'm one of the most bullish in the community and I'm the one least emotional about my investment. It's ridiculous. And that's just how it is. But yeah, we gonna end it here, y'all. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below, man. Be sure to drop that thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. Peace out, Joe.